Welcome to another episode of Cannaspirations. I'm Beck Selman. I'm joined by my co-host Warren Harris. Today we are discussing the Virginia adult use market, a Minnesota licensing update, and the looming hemp ban update. Let's dive into Virginia, where they've just passed some new legislation. The Senate bill and the House bill were reconciled, and there's some new licensing opportunities, and they're coming up quick. Let's talk about those, Warren.
Absolutely. So, yeah, the license opportunities would include impact licenses. These are reserved for 50% of all categories, communities most affected by prior drug enforcement. There are a number of categories and criteria that allow you to apply for these, so get your documentation ready for that. Retail stores will be capped at 350 statewide before 2028. This will include standard 1,000-foot setbacks from schools. And of course, 21 and over must show ID at the door. The micro business license is probably the most interesting in the state because it does include vertical integration. This allows you to grow, manufacture, and retail everything from your own facility. So stay tuned. That's one that a lot of people want. And then, of course, your standard cultivation and manufacturing licenses, with the largest canopy size being a tier 5, 35,000 square foot license. And of course, industrial hemp growers are encouraged to apply. Of course, the dual use multi state operators that are in the state now as existing medical licensees will be allowed to convert. And of course, while these other licenses are getting up and running, they're going to be pretty much the only game in town because they have the supply and the stores open. So, Beck, let's talk about that timeline.
Yeah, it's coming up really fast. The legislation just passed not even 2 weeks ago, March 14th. The governor's expected to sign it at the end of May. July 1st, application window should open. Then the seed to sale tracking will be established. And by January 1st, retail sales can begin. That's a really tight timeline. No way any cultivators or manufacturers are going to be built out and ready to go in that time. So all we'll see is, of course, those four established medical providers selling adult use products now. So the same rules we're going to apply for that we see in a lot of other places. They got 1,000-foot setbacks from other uh, cannabis establishments, 1,000 foot from daycares and schools as well. Boring stores, no neon signs or flashing lights, child resistant packaging, neutral looking store from the street as we see most states opting for. There's no local opt out, but there are extra taxes up to 3.5% the municipality can impose, and they can restrict your hours and zoning and signage and things like that. um, Ownership disclosure, any owner over 10% must be disclosed on that. So let's jump into Minnesota and see what's going on there.
Absolutely. So right now it's a flurry for the FPOR and final site registration. So essentially all of the provisional licensees are scrambling to secure real estate, to get their security installed, POS and equipment, to write their SOPs and do their record keeping for OCM annual reporting, and then of course to get their seed to sale documentation through and pass municipal approval. So we're seeing that the municipal approval is actually the biggest hurdle. Every municipality has its own rules. Some are requiring conditional use permits. It's sort of a free-for-all, so make sure you start interacting with your municipality right away, because they can really guide you through the entire process in terms of location, zoning, and what you need to do for this build out in order to get through the final OCM inspection with the submitted FPORs, which again, completed SOPs, completed logs. You basically have to be ready for operations when the OCM sets up and shows up for your inspection. So that's one of those things where you don't want to leave anything to the last minute because it will delay your opening. So let's go ahead and talk about sort of how many companies have gotten open.
Yeah, that's right. Don't forget, insurance. They're looking for insurance. They're looking for certificate of occupancy on top of things that they don't talk about in those guides, but the municipalities are going to be looking for those before they'll pass you off on their site registration. So Minnesota is doing a good job keeping everyone updated with their live trackers. And so far, we've got out of all the provisional licensees, we've got 160 that are licensed and running, and 1,374 of those are still sitting on the preliminary application. Now they have only 18 months to convert that. So there might be a rush to finish soon, or you'll have to apply for an extension. There are 7 retail licenses issued and 123 micro businesses. So a lot of those are retail only on the micro business side, but some people are doing cultivation and manufacturing with those licenses as well. Um, there's still a lot of big hurdles. Municipal zoning approval, as we talked about, facility build out delays. Things take time, permitting and getting large construction projects done. People don't have enough. People are seeking enough capital. People are looking for funding for these things. So that might delay some people, some businesses from getting off the ground. There's social equity navigator. OCM's navigator program does help social equity applicants through their FPOR, but has limited capacity. FPOR submission window, provisional licenses have defined conversion windows. Missing an FPR deadline can forfeit your license. So, you've got that 18 months. Make sure you don't miss it. Contact us if you need help getting across that finish line. And then you've got seed to sale compliance. So get your point of sale system lined up, or metric to integrate. And that's what's happening in Minnesota. Let's get on with this national hemp ban and see what how that's developing.
Absolutely. So I did just publish a brief article in MJ Biz News, so check that out. Basically, what's happening is, this November, all intoxicating hemp products are being banned at a federal level. So what that means is all the Delta 8, Delta 10, all of the isomers and derivatives, they're all going to be gone. The national hemp market as we know it, where you can buy gummies in New Jersey that were made in California or Oregon, that's going to be massively disrupted. And we're seeing that really big players in the industry like Curaleaf are already leaving the sector. I do believe this creates a huge opportunity because we are seeing certain states, Minnesota, New York, Florida, already beginning to move forward with hemp regulations to allow the industries to thrive within state. So this sort of makes an opportunity without the national market for these products for new licensees to open up and to supply this demand. I do think you're going to see much fewer gas station gummies and gas station Delta 9 sodas. At least in Minnesota, they would have to get a low potency hemp endorsement, or New Jersey is allowing its ABC liquor stores to go ahead and move with those products. But again, stories where 6 to 9 months ago you were seeing Target was going to start selling this stuff nationally, that has all changed. So what that really means is there is still potentially some legal headwinds. So Beck, do you want to take us through some of those potential threats?
Yeah, I mean the hemp industry is lobbying. Obviously, you have big tobacco and big MSO cannabis companies that all jumped onto the THC beverage markets, and low potency hemp edibles and vapes and things that fell under the loophole of the 2018 Farm Bill. So you have national brands that are pushing for a 12 to 24-month delay to allow the regulated market to be ready for. So that could buy them some time. You have litigation threat where several national hemp groups have signaled potential legal challenges on Commerce Clause grounds, similar to playbooks run in other state. Outcomes are uncertain, but this could be delay enforcement. Uh, and there are legislative amendment attempts. Bills filed in the 2026 session attempted to create a licensed hemp THC pathway parallel to cannabis. Mostly have failed or stalled. So watch for special session attempts to closer to the November deadline. So what's the opportunity there for local producers, Warren? Since
Yeah,
this
so this is exactly what I was talking about in my article is basically, this really, I see a lot of these large brands moving towards white label. So going to the states that are already prepared, finding somebody who's licensed to produce and has the capability to manufacture this stuff, handing them the recipe and doing what they can to keep their market share active in that state and not having to lose out on a brand that they've spent so much time and money developing. I do think this is going to create a local grower advantage too. So whereas, previously you were competing in New Jersey against farms in, Oregon and California where they just have vast fields of hemp, suddenly your local hemp will be more desirable and have a higher per dollar price. I also think that there's a real big chance to capture the disrupted market share, right? So small operators can move in, establish themselves in a local market, do a slow and metered expansion into other states as they open up and create rails for this stuff. And over time, establish what would be a national presence as opposed to what happened, almost overnight with the national hemp beverage industry. So this is where I do think you're going to see, a lot of potential pivots here. So, and that's really our end to the episode today. Beck, what did we go over?
Yeah, Virginia is open. Finally, the long-awaited Virginia uh, adult use market. Now, July 1st application window for that. So localities can opt out, but there is likely going to be a lottery on that, and limited license numbers. So Minnesota got 350 provisional licensees must file FBORs, more than that. Really, and the zoning, municipal zoning gaps, are the number one bottleneck. So don't miss your window there. The 2026 national hemp ban creates a demand of vacuum. So if you're a local grower in Minnesota, you can still produce hemp under the Office of Cannabis Management regulations and the state regulations. So still some local opportunities there for hemp to also pivot to cannabis as well in those, or private label the hemp beverages and have a private label, white label, and a local 3PL in each state. So a lot of opportunities to explore there. So we're excited to see what's going to happen next. Thanks for joining us on Cannaspirations.
Right on. Take care.